So it makes them feel like real diplomats.
Indeed.
Yes.
And we must actually say that in 2009, the very first annual Global Model of United Nations was held in Geneva, Switzerland, just like Manna has just mentioned. And the ASMUN, or the Ain Shams Model of United Nations, was representing Egypt, the sole representative, right?
Yeah.
In that international event. It was definitely a great boost for you guys, I guess.
Yes.
You've been there as well, Manna. Tell us about your experience over there.
Well, first of all, I did not expect to be accepted.
Why not?
There are so many levels. First of all, you have to write an essay that's determined by the headquarters of the United Nations. In our year, it was an essay about our MEN experience and how it affected our lives. And then the sufficient essays are to be selected, and the delegates who are selected go through an interview, and their papers or their applications are to be sent by email to the headquarters, and then through them some delegates are selected. So the selection phase is very difficult and very precise, but thankfully I was accepted along with Omar and Minna.
How many were you from Egypt?
11.
11.
Yes. It was a grand experience being in the headquarters of the United Nations in Geneva, Switzerland, knowing that real diplomats sit in our chairs and walk in the same hallways. It was really nice, and I've been told that the resolutions that we reach and come up with in the after the conferences are to be shown to real diplomats. Maybe some of the solutions could be applicable in real life. So it's been very fulfilling.
Okay, what about your impression? Tell me, Omar, you've been there as well. And how was the experience?
It was first begin when we just knew about there will be a model organized by the UN. So we, as the high board of ASMUN 09, we start tackling to have a part and to represent Egypt in such model. And we started to contact the UN headquarters through the UN Information Office here in Cairo to start to be in their database of the UN and to be sent an invitation to attend such a conference. We started to publicize for the Global Model UN within our delegates in Ain Shams University. And we started collecting application, and we struggled with the UN to extend the number. We had like a limit to have like 15 or 10 delegates. Actually, there was like 20 or 25 from Ain Shams University delegates to participate in the Global Model United Nations, but due to expenses and timing, half of the delegates who were accepted, they didn't make it. And the exposure of going to being one of the founders was like our aim and our main aim to reach to be on the international, to have international bases.
What about the interaction itself with other delegates from all over the world? How was this experience? I mean, you've been there as a delegate in Egypt among your own peers, but going through the experience on an international scale in a different foreign country, it must have been different.
Yeah, actually the social experience there was really amazing. Like every 2 seconds you're meeting someone from, actually there were countries I never knew there are countries with such names. So I have, and there are countries I never knew anything about such countries. Like my partner was from Uzbekistan. I never knew something about Uzbekistan. I didn't even how they look. So and how developed they are, and what is their history, what are their interests. So if you're like in Wikipedia, you're an encyclopedia, you're knowing everything, every side talk, every minute you're knowing something about a country, you know historical stuff, you know how these people live, they are friendly, they are rough, they are funny. It was really amazing on the social basis.
What about you girls? I mean, also definitely your impression as females as well, getting this exposure to a different community, and usually girls are a bit more shy than guys. So how was it with you?
It was we were outgoing.
Yes.
It's kind of a once-in-a-lifetime experience, especially because some of us were seniors, so they wouldn't get to participate in it the following year. But I really, as Omar said, I think it's a cultural experience. We were exchanging cultures pretty much and getting to know other people and as well, not just pip talk and chit-chatting. It was also that we work together, we research together, we prepare opening speeches, what are we going to do? Especially that each delegation had 4 delegates. Each delegate would be in his or her own committee representing their country. So we had to find a strategy that we are going to follow each on their own. So it was fun.
Strategy. Okay. What about your own performance, like as delegates at the United Nations? I mean, compared with others, did you feel that you were well prepared? Did you feel that you've got a cutting edge compared to others?
No, we felt like the MUN has a universal language. Everyone speaks the same language as you do. Everyone pretty much understands what MUN is all about, and they act accordingly, and it's fun. I have friends from Ghana and Kenya and Geneva and all over the world.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay, mentioning Kenya, we must say that it's not only a global, but it's on regional or continental scales as well. The Model of United Nations has been launched last year for Africa, the African Model United Nations, and it was actually held in Kenya. And we know, Ali, that you've got kind of an attempt to make something about that next year. Tell us about it.
Yes, there is the Africa International Model United Nations. It's the first year was 2010. It's held in Kenya, hosted by Kenya. The next year we're trying to host this activity, this conference here in Egypt, in Ain Shams University as ASMUN. And I believe will be a great chance for us as Egypt and the students of Ain Shams University and Egyptians to show the whole world how organized we are, that we have the whole idea of the Model United Nations is well established here in Egypt. There is delegates here are more than perfect. I believe it will be a very good experience for us and for other students all over the world to participate in and to come to Egypt and see how Egyptians and how the Egyptian culture is.
That's indeed, it's going to be a lovely experience, especially if you're going to get a lot of delegates from Africa. I guess it's going to be quite interesting. And one more thing I want to touch upon is because most of you have shown a great dedication when you're talking about the model and how you've actually dedicated a lot of your time, your weekends, a lot of research work, and you also had studies on the way. So I want to ask you as students, how did you make this balance between your academic studies and the success that definitely is a priority and your extracurricular activity that also came to you as a passion? So, I mean, I'd love to hear your answers all, Menna.
Well, basically, I had to do time for the studying, so I would cut away everything and just concentrate on studying for 2 weeks and get everything done and then dedicate the whole year to MUN.
Okay, that's not a good advice. What about you, Menna? Tell me a better idea.
Well, to me, first of all, I was a delegate, so I didn't have as much pressure as I had as a secretary, because the pressure for the delegate is pretty much centered towards the conference, when the conference is due. But as a secretariat, I found it was very time-consuming and it swallows all my time. So I tried, let's say, make a day or 2 in the week, a few hours in them for studying, and then the rest of the week is all for ASMUN. And then towards the end, when the conference is over, I have like 2 months before the exam, so...
Okay, you managed.
Yes.